You are surrounded by people who love you, and you are completely alone. Not because they're absent, not because they don't care, but because something between you and them, something you cannot name, keeps the warmth from actually landing. You watch the closeness happening from just slightly outside of it. And you don't know if the problem is them or something sealed inside you. Problem deep dive. You've tried to explain it. You've told yourself you're an introvert, that you just need more alone time, or that these people don't quite understand you, that the right people would feel different. But the right people arrived, and it still felt like this. There are conversations where you say everything correctly and feel nothing. Moments of genuine laughter that evaporate the second they end, leaving no warmth behind. People reach toward you, and something in you, automatically, without permission, steps back. Psychologists call this interpersonal loneliness despite social presence. A disconnect not between you and other people, but between you and your own capacity for connection. It is closely linked to what researchers identify as dismissive-avoidant attachment, a relational pattern formed when early closeness was paired with disappointment, intrusion, or the quiet message that needing people was not entirely safe. So the nervous system learned a solution. Stay near people, but keep the interior door locked. Reframe. You are not cold. You are not incapable of love or commitment or depth. You are someone whose early experiences taught connection and threat to arrive together. So often, so consistently, that the brain eventually stopped separating them. The loneliness you feel in the presence of love is not evidence that you are broken. It is evidence that closeness once cost you something. And part of you is still paying that old debt on every new relationship. Psychological mechanism. Here's the neuroscience underneath. Your brain contains a threat prediction system anchored in the amygdala, a structure that processes emotional memory and flags patterns associated with past pain. In early life, if closeness was followed by withdrawal, criticism, or emotional unavailability, the amygdala records that pairing. Closeness, then loss. Openness, then hurt. Over time, the brain, trying to protect you, builds what researchers call a deactivating attachment strategy. It doesn't eliminate the need for connection. That need is biological, hardwired, permanent. It suppresses the signal of that need. So you feel pulled toward people and simultaneously numbed to them. Present in the room, absent from the moment. Neuroscientist John Cacioppo, who spent decades studying loneliness, found something striking. The loneliest people are not always those with the fewest relationships. They are often those whose nervous systems have learned to perceive connection as threat and quietly block the signal before it can hurt them. The glass between you and the warmth is not a character flaw. It is a learned protection. Practical framework. 4 principles, each one small, each one real. 1. Notice the withdrawal before it completes. Attachment researchers call the moment just before emotional distancing the activation threshold, the point where connection begins to feel like too much and the system moves to shut it down. You cannot stop this reflex by force, but you can learn to recognize it, the slight internal pull away, the sudden desire to be somewhere else, and simply name it quietly to yourself. There it is. Naming activates the prefrontal cortex. It introduces a pause. The pause is where choice lives. 2. Practice receiving in small doses. Psychologist Sue Johnson's research on emotionally focused therapy shows that avoidant attachment patterns shift not through insight alone, but through repeated small experiences of reaching, being met, and surviving it. You don't need to open completely. You need to let one thing land once. Then notice you are still intact. 3. Separate presence from vulnerability. You can be in the room, fully, attending, warm, genuinely there, without exposing everything. Connection does not require total openness. It requires selective honesty, choosing one real thing to share where you would normally perform a surface. Small truth, real contact. The nervous system learns that disclosure and damage are not the same event. 4. Stay after the impulse to leave. When the evening ends and you feel that particular hollow distance, resist the urge to immediately withdraw into solitude. Sit with the discomfort of having been close. This is affect tolerance training, the practice of remaining present with emotions the system has historically escaped. Over time, closeness stops feeling like a threat requiring recovery. It begins to feel, slowly, like something the body knows how to hold. Integration. Think of your capacity for connection as a river that froze in an early winter. The water is still there. The current is still there. The cold came from outside you, from a season you did not choose. What you are doing now, every time you let something land, every time you stay past the impulse to go, is raising the temperature. 1 degree at a time. Not forcing the thaw, just removing what kept it frozen. The people around you are real. Their care is real. And the part of you that cannot yet fully feel it, that part is not a permanent feature of who you are. It is the last defense of a younger version of you who needed it desperately. You don't need it the same way anymore. The warmth that's been waiting at the edge of you, patient, quiet, not gone, will find its way in. Not all at once, but it will.